This probably sparked the most hilarious debate that I've seen on the internet this year. So, CBC News talks about ancient cultures. They're talking about human sacrifice. And you know how CNN talked about fiery but mostly peaceful riots? CBC News says that, well, actually, human sacrifices exist in both culture. It was a practice. It's not that they were violent, it was their way with connecting to the celestial bodies, right? So, like, for them, human sacrifices was like communication. Was like phoning Jesus, right? When the Aztecs were pulling a guy on the pyramid and they were pulling out its beaten heart, that was called dialogue. The reason I find this hilarious is because I like to believe that we are smarter than the previous generation, right? Like, as humankind advances throughout the years, we get progressively smarter. Like, I like to think a person from 2025 has a lot more wisdom and knowledge than a person that lived 400 BC. But then I see shit like this, and I'm reminded that no, actually, people that were in 400 BC, or even before that, that they had more knowledge and wisdom than us. They may not have more knowledge than us in the sense of understanding what electricity is or what a steam engine is, but they definitely probably had more wisdom than a lot of us on Twitter. Take the Romans, for instance, right? Like, the Romans didn't believe in objective morality. Like, the Romans believed in paying your taxes and shutting the fuck up. And so, like, when they had their pagan ideology, which had, like, various gods in the sky, and they got, like, Zeus and Athena and shit, and when they conquered another people, those other people had their own gods. They had their own laws. And what the Romans would say, it's like, okay, well, the sky is big enough for your gods as well, but as long as you believe our emperor and Zeus is at the top of the mountain, you're allowed to preach your shit, and as long as your laws do not contradict the imperial decrees, you're allowed to practice your shit. This actually caused balance and stability, right? When an empire was conquering, because you don't want to conquer a group of people and then they immediately rebel. But there was one thing that the Romans didn't tolerate. There was like that one thing that really ticked them off, and that was human sacrifices. Like, if you did that, it didn't matter. No, like, the sky all of a sudden wasn't that big. The sky became a lot smaller. And your culture wasn't just like, okay, another culture to be assimilated. No, you had to have a correction. And so, like, if people from, like, 400 BC could understand, it's like, okay, hold on a little bit. This is too much. Right? Because the Romans weren't the only ones that had this mentality. Like, there were other cultures as well. They're like, they would draw the line at human sacrifices. They would be like, you know, I understand if you're, you know, talking to the Earth Mother and you're talking to water spirits and shit like that. Like, that's fine. But when you start with the human sacrifices, that's too much. Too much. And, like, why is it that those people have more wisdom than individuals on Twitter today? Because I see the top comments, the most liked comments, things that in a normal society would be considered batshit insane. Not batshit insane because you say them, but, like, you actually expect other people to believe it? Like, here you have, I guess, a left-leaning individual saying, well, our society is the same. We still have human sacrifices, you guys. We're just like the Aztecs. We got drone strikes, we got fast food, we got pharmaceuticals, we got war on drugs, we got rape. We're just like the Aztec guys. The world hasn't progressed. It's literally the same. It's like a priest with war paint just cutting you open. It's literally the same thing. And you're wondering, it's like, who mindfucked this person? Like what university academic is responsible for mindfucking this person? Because, like, that university academic is a biological weapon. The military should recruit them. Like, if you can do this to a sane person and you get them to believe in insanity, like, that university academic should be deployed on our enemies. Should be deployed against Russians or some shit. How is, like, drone striking the same as human sacrifice? Like, just because there's death, One is war, which is something normal in every single society on planet Earth throughout human history, because human beings are territorial creatures, believe it or not. No one is judging the Aztecs for having spears and waging battle and conquering other tribes. Like, that's what humans have done throughout history, from civilizations that didn't even meet each other. Right? Like that's something that exists and is ingrained. Human sacrifices is not. Not all civilizations throughout histories have performed human sacrifices. It's actually the exception. And even back then, when people didn't understand much, they still had a feeling that maybe this is not okay. Maybe it's not right. I don't even know, like fast food. Okay, so like, because you commodified food to be able to serve it to hundreds of millions of people, because our populations is so fucking big right now compared to what it used to be back then, right? Like in a medieval society, if you had 1 million people, you were quite large. But now you have hundreds of millions of people, so you need to find a way to feed those people. Some of those ways aren't exactly healthy, but hey, you know, if it works and it's cheap, so that the poor eat, so that we don't have famine anymore, that's like human sacrifice? What the fuck is wrong with these people on Twitter, man? Like, it's like a mental asylum now. How can they not make the difference? Like, I'm willing to bet a 7-year-old, if you show them a picture of the Aztecs and you show him a burger, like, he will understand the difference. Rape culture. Dude, it's 2025, you know, like 2016 cold, and they want their talking points back. And then you have like some right-wingers. Oh my goodness. Like, not all, but like some of them. The way they're describing America, right? It's like, but we have human sacrifices too. It is abortion. It is rivers of blood. Like, the Spartans had nothing about, like, we have mountains upon mountains of corpses, and we worship and we venerate. Like, must the talking point be driven to 11? Like, I get the argument, but like, must it be driven to 11? You know, get ChatGPT to hyperbolize it even further then. You know, like, if an alien was to find Twitter and he would read about your view of America, they would think that it's hell on earth. Like they would unironically think that it's like the Judgment Day with the fucking Terminators in lab coats going around, and they see a baby like, pew, 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 and no one cares, right? Like, that, it's just like normal. It's like, why is it that whenever you go on Twitter, people feel the need to hyper-exaggerate? Like, can they not make an intelligent point without going there? Holy shit, you know, these people are starting to persuade me to adopt Buddhism or some shit, you know, where I genuinely start to believe in harmony. Genuinely starting to think that when you have excesses, you don't actually get peace. Like, when too much of a good thing is not good, you know? Like, you can't have shadow without light. Like there needs to be some sort of fucking balance, because otherwise people just go to the other extreme. And it's just as fucking bad. Look at Europe. Europe doesn't have these conversations. Like, no one in Europe will say, oh, we got like mountains upon mountains, tsunami of fucking cadavers. You know, like, no one says this. And no one would compare this to, like, the Aztecs, which was murdering apparently to communicate with the gods. Like no one in a lab coat is doing this to commune with Dr. Fauci. Again, I get the talking point, but I want you to position yourself. Like, can you put yourself into the shoes of a leftist just for a second? Like, can you do that? Like, is it possible? Can you imagine you're a leftist now, right? Just imagine. If you hear the argument exaggerated and dialed to 11, would you be willing to be persuaded? Like, is it going to change your mind? Or is it going to entrench you further and you're going to say, well, those right-wingers, they're crazy? Like, that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. But to see that this got 500,000 views, and the top comments that are top-rated are like, yes, modern society, we're just like the Aztecs. We're just like... So you're literally telling me that if an Aztec priest came up today and did a human sacrifice, you wouldn't care because we're just like them, right? Like, if A equals B, then B equals A. And therefore, if it was that today, you'd be like, well, I mean, it's normal, right? How do normal functioning people end up convincing themselves of such nonsense? No, human sacrifices are not a way to communicate, okay? They're not dialogue. It is intrinsically violent. And by the way, like, there's other centrists, like centrists as well, attacking this shit, saying, well, no, because, like, what they're trying to say is that they didn't do it because of the violence. Like, motherfucker, someone came up with the ritual, alright? Like a person that was sick in the fucking head came up with the ritual, probably did it because of the bloody spectacle. Yes, I'm pretty sure he was violent. But even if you were to say that they didn't do it because, they craved violence, but, like, they did it because they believed that without it, then the sun won't rise or some shit. They still needed to justify violence in order to get the war prisoners. Like, this is actually worse than the drone strike. The drone strike that you're talking about is something strategic, which is done for a pragmatic, cynical reason that I may or may not agree with, right? But it's a combat operation, like, it's done for a cynical reason, like, we need this land, or we need to get rid of these hostiles, or whatever the fuck, you know? You may agree or may not agree with it. But again, like, I can understand why it's done. There are no fucking gods, okay? Like, there are no gods. And secondly, the problem is that when you justify the need for human sacrifice, you justify the need for constant warfare. Because you need to get those prisoners from somewhere. And so the idea of peace becomes atrocious. And that's why the Aztecs were actually so successful. Because for them, peace was unthinkable. Like, they always needed to find someone to fight. And so they became strong because they were constantly fighting. Like, their soldiers constantly had veteranship, right? So, like, the difference between the drone strike is that at some point the combat operation can end. Like, it is possible that in the future, there may not be need for combat operations anywhere. Theoretically, right? But for the Aztecs, it wouldn't have been possible because they would view it as heresy. They would view it like, okay, but, like, if we don't have combat, how do we get human sacrifices so that the sun rises, right? Like, they genuinely believed in that. They weren't talking about it metaphorically. They weren't just making it up. Like, no, like, their entire society believed in this need. And so it's actually worse than if they were violent because they were zealots. And they were zealots to a religion that demanded blood. The fact that I even need to explain this is baffling. It's like, is this like something difficult to articulate, huh? This is something that people don't understand anymore. Like, it used to be called common sense, but now apparently people don't have it, so you need to remind them. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.